switch to our quick fire round. We ask our listeners to send in questions specifically for you, and they can do that at Politicon on Twitter or Instagram at Politicon or podcasts at politicon.com. I've got one. Well, you pretty much already answered this, but Manny from Detroit asks, do the polls mean anything these days?
Not really. I hate to say that, but not really. The methodology is usually flawed. There's bias behind them. A lot of times, one of the things you can always look for, if it's for a registered voter versus a likely voter is a much better sample because that means they're wanting to vote. A registered voter, a lot of times doesn't vote. That's one thing. And two is national polls usually always, if that makes any sense at all, use 10% of respondents from California. So love or hate California, it's not necessarily representative of the rest of the country and how it votes. So
national polls should be outlawed. I'll completely agree with you on that.
There you go.
But the registered, because that's not how we vote. But the registered voter versus likely voter thing is a valid argument. But typically those likely voter polls start coming out after the conventions are done. So we'll start seeing a few more of those here soon. Tito from Nashville wants to know, how will your campaign get Biden out of his basement?
Well, it's funny. The media don't want us out there talking to the American people, and they don't want Joe Biden out there talking either. But it's for two different reasons. When Joe Biden goes out, it doesn't end well either. He says crazy things like children love to rub on his leg hair, or Arizona is a great city, or all African Americans think alike. And when Donald Trump goes out there, his message resonates because he's able to remind people just all the record-setting successes in record-setting time. And the forgotten men and women of this country have been forgotten no more under this administration. And that cuts across race, religion, color, or creed. And it's a record he should run on. Getting him out of the basement has been very, very difficult because, quite frankly, the Democrats don't want him out. They know the mistakes he makes when he has the chance to speak to people without the editing and without the scripts. And so, short of going down there and pulling him out of the hidey hole, I just don't know how it happens, because right now he's content just sitting down there and letting the media carry his water.
What are you going to do when he does get out of the basement and starts doing it? I mean, he's got an interview with ABC this weekend. I mean, presumably he will come out of the basement and start doing some more interviews. Is that going to take away this particular argument or line of attack?
I hate to say that, but that's a hypothetical. We haven't seen him come out of the basement yet. And also, no, it'll probably just feed into the other part of the argument, which is when he does get out, it's very problematic. So chances are, if he does go out, it's going to be extremely scripted, or they'll just shuttle him back down there really quickly. And if you notice, even when they came out and talked about a mask mandate, he and Kamala Harris, they wouldn't let him take questions afterwards. That's unconstitutional. Like no one gets a chance to ask him
hyperbole.
Why.
See, now that's hyperbole, because it's not unconstitutional to not let people ask questions. I mean, that
no. I said a national mask mandate is unconstitutional. Yeah. No. He didn't have to answer any questions.
It was unconstitutional.
No. That's not hyperbole. No, it's unconstitutional. I'm saying the press didn't get to ask the questions of anything of how that policy would be carried out. Like, do you go arrest people if they don't have masks? And why would someone, I understand if you want to ride a subway in New York, put on a mask, for heaven's sakes. But if you're out plowing a field of corn in Iowa, you don't need a mask on. So how would you police that? How would you enforce that? But no one had a chance to ask them that question because they shut them back down the hidey hole as fast as they can. But sooner or later, I hope he pays a political price for it, and I hope the press hold him to account.
Okay, Catherine, last one. Catherine from Omaha asks, does the president believe any QAnon theories?
Oh, gosh, no. I don't even know that he and I have spoken about it at length, other than to say it's junk.
But he hasn't said that, has he?
I don't know if he's been asked about it publicly.
I think when the woman from Georgia won her primary last week, he was asked, and he had not yet come out and say, do you think he needs to come out? Do you think it would be a good idea for him to come out and say these things are junk? These particular theories from QAnon are invalid?
Again, I don't I'm not trying to be, evasive here. I'm just saying I don't really know anything about QAnon, other than it's a bunch of junk. I mean, look, that's not what this campaign's about. It's about focusing on the record of Joe Biden versus the record of this president. We think we're in pretty good shape. So I don't know anything about that conspiracy theory, or anything that group does. I really don't.
Hey, I'm Clay Aiken. To hear the full episode, subscribe to This Politicon podcast on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to pods. Please subscribe, rate, and review the show. Go to Politicon.com, follow @Politicon on social media, and listen to a new pod episode of How the Heck every Thursday.